We begin tonight with Chris Sununu, former governor of New Hampshire, Marc Caputo, White House correspondent for Axios, by far the best sourced reporter in the Trump White House. Marc, it is good to see you. Am I fair and correct in saying Trump just doesn't care what anybody else says right now?
Right now, I think it's correct, and that's generally been the case. That having been said, it's easy to get under Trump's skin. So to a degree, he does care, and Zelenskyy, the president of Ukraine, did get under his skin last week, and that's why we saw that war of words break out.
Governor, what is it to say that the Republican Party, is it that fighting Trump when he's winning doesn't work, or it's not worth it? Where are we?
So in relation to Ukraine, I mean, those clips you played, those senators are exactly right. Putin's a dictator. He started the war. You really can't capitulate to that. You got to be careful, though. Zelenskyy needs to be careful. If he starts getting into a war of words with Trump, at the end of the day, when push comes to shove, these senators are going to side with America and Trump and where they want to take that agenda. So Zelenskyy needs to be careful not to tip this thing over unnecessarily. While Trump, I'm not saying he's playing into Putin, but he's clearly saying, this isn't a one-sided negotiation. We're going to bring everybody to the table. And I give him credit for saying, look, being part of NATO is not going to be, out there. Let's just stop with that nonsense. That's what kind of led to a lot of this. And so I do give them credit for trying to be a bit blunt about it. But yeah, it's not about conservatives or Democrats or Republicans supporting this or that. This is an international stage. This is what's best in America's interest. Of course, that has to be taken first, but also in the Western Hemisphere. And I've always believed that, democracy was really on the line in this Ukraine war, and the Ukrainian people stood up and pushed back on Putin appropriately. And now there's going to be some capitulation to get peace. They all want peace. There's no question on that, but they got to get there.
Marc, just in terms of how this is happening, everyone said, oh, it's so bad for Donald Trump that he said Zelensky's a dictator, on and on and on. And then he turns around and he gets the deal he wants. He gets Zelenskyy to sign on to this. Rule number one of Trumpism, Trump always wins or he declares victory. But I think there's something different here right now, is that nothing is bad for Donald Trump. He doesn't have to run for re-election. It doesn't really matter what people think of him. It sort of only matters what the results are and how much political power he has, right?
I think Donald Trump in this case does want to make good on his promise to bring peace or a semblance of peace to Ukraine and to Russia. The problem is, and I'm sorry for the cliche, the devil's in the details.
Yeah.
And what Trump sees as a solution is realist, but it's brutalist, which is essentially giving Putin the lands he invaded and then telling Zelenskyy, then telling Ukraine, not only do you have to give up these lands, but you need to give up a portion of your mineral rights to recompense the United States for its prior commitments and for its commitments going forward. That's really difficult. How he pulls that off and how he realistically gets not just the Europeans to sort of back this, but Putin is really going to be the art of the deal.
Okay. Well, so far he keeps raising the stakes, escalate to de-escalate, which is what the Russians' playbook normally is. Governor, Friday night, about 7 o'clock, maybe 6:30, Donald Trump announced that he had fired the chairman of the Joint Chiefs, C.Q. Brown. Chairman Brown had been very outspoken about DEI issues and the like. A number of other senior generals below him, also who had that mindset and had been nominated by President Biden, were told they could do something else with the end of their military careers. I'm thinking to the first Trump administration that I covered, this would have been a 5-alarm fire. Everybody would have been talking about how this was norm-busting and terrible, and all the thought about civilian control of the military had changed and blah, 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 and tradition. I just sort of see the outrage fountain as either being empty or without a lot of power to blast outrage these days.
Because it was justified. Look, make no mistake, these guys got 30 days more than they probably deserved. America has seen what has happened to the American military. right? And you know, I know folks that would only join the Marines in the last couple of years because the Marines were the only ones, God bless them, that didn't cave and didn't start changing their standards. But you saw a changing of standards, a complete changing of priorities out there very publicly for all of America to see, and no one really liked it.
Thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.